Boy gives his jacket to a baby on the street. And the next day, 7 SUVs stop at his house. Tyler was coming back from Mr. Thompson's convenience store with the only coin he had managed to borrow to buy a package of powdered milk when he heard the desperate crying. The biting cold of the winter morning in Camden made his hands tremble, but not as much as the distressing sound coming from the corner. That's when he saw the grey-haired lady holding the baby in her arms, walking back and forth in a desperate attempt to calm the child. The little one was only wearing a diaper and a thin t-shirt, shivering from the cold, while crying inconsolably. "Please, can someone help me?" shouted the woman, looking around the empty street. "My grandson is very cold." Tyler stopped on the sidewalk. His 12 years of life had already taught him about need and sacrifice. He looked at his own greenish jacket, the only warm piece he owned, given as a gift last Christmas by his schoolteacher. Then he looked again at the crying baby. Without thinking twice, he took off his jacket and approached the lady. "Would you like me to put it on him?" asked Tyler, offering the garment. "My son, you're going to be cold," replied the woman, but her eyes showed relief. "It's okay, Mum, I can handle it." Tyler smiled while helping to put the jacket on the baby. What neither of them noticed was that Mrs. Jenkins, the neighbor who lived across the street, had filmed the entire scene through her house window. Moved by the boy's gesture, she decided to post the video on her social media with the caption, "Look at the kindness of this boy from our community." Tyler returned home shivering, but with a warmed heart. He found his 2 younger siblings, Jason, who was 7, and Emma, who was 5, playing on the living room floor with little dolls made of newspaper. The simple 2-room house had become even colder without the jacket. "Where's your jacket, Tyler?" asked Emma, immediately noticing the missing garment. "I lent it to a baby who was cold," he replied, preparing the diluted powdered milk that would serve as breakfast for the 3 of them. "Mum is going to be mad at you," said Jason, worried. "No, she won't. Mum always teaches that we have to help those in need." Tyler poured the warm milk into 3 chipped cups they owned. Meanwhile, Mrs. Jenkins' video began circulating online. First, it was the neighbors who shared it, touched by the generosity of the boy known in the community for always helping others, even though he had so little. Then the video reached larger groups of city residents. Melissa, Tyler's mother, arrived home at 11 at night after an exhausting day of work. She cleaned 3 different houses and still sold cakes on weekends to supplement the income. At 32 years old, her face already showed the marks of a life of constant struggle. "Mum!" Tyler ran to hug her as soon as he heard the key in the lock. "Hi, my love, how was your day?" Melissa kissed her son's forehead and noticed he looked paler than usual. "Normal, Mum. The boys are already asleep." Tyler tried to disguise a coughing fit that had been bothering him since the afternoon. It was then that Melissa noticed he wasn't wearing his jacket. "Tyler, where's your jacket?" The boy told the whole story, from meeting the lady to the moment he put the jacket on the baby. Melissa felt her chest tighten, torn between pride in her son's character and concern about the cold he had faced. "You did the right thing, my son." She hugged him tightly. "But now you need to warm up. Come here." That same night, Mrs. Jenkins received an unexpected call. It was from Rebecca Wilson, a 45-year-old businesswoman who had seen the video through a friend. "Mrs. Jenkins, that boy in the video, does he live near you?" "Yes, he lives here, dear. It's Tyler, Melissa's son. Such a hard-working boy. I always see him helping everyone here on the street. Could you give me the address? I'd like to meet him in person." What Mrs. Jenkins didn't know was that Rebecca had grown up in that same community 30 years earlier. Daughter of a laundress and a bricklayer, she had gotten a scholarship and, through great effort, built a construction materials company that now employed over 200 people. The video had deeply touched her heart, not just because of the boy's kindness, but because she remembered going hungry and cold in her childhood when her clothes were scarce and patched. The next morning, Tyler woke up with a high fever. Melissa had to miss work to care for him, which meant losing a whole day's pay. She made chamomile tea with the last leaves she had and stayed by her son's bedside, praying softly. "Mom, I'm fine." Tyler tried to get up, worried about seeing her miss work because of him. "You just stay put. Today, Mommy stays with you." Melissa touched his hot forehead tenderly. Jason and Emma played quietly in the living room, also worried about their older brother. They knew Tyler always put their well-being above his own, and now it was their turn to give back by making sure not to make noise while he rested. Meanwhile, Rebecca was organizing a full-scale operation. She had called some suppliers and business friends, telling them Tyler's story and proposing joint help for the family. The response was immediate and warm. "Rebecca, count on me for whatever you need," said Robert, owner of a clothing store. "I'll set aside jackets for the whole family." "I'll contribute with grocery baskets," offered Susan, owner of a supermarket. "And I can help with construction materials if the house needs any repairs," added Frank, partner at a hardware store. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, take a moment to leave a like and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps us who are just starting out. Now continuing. Late in the afternoon, when Tyler finally managed to get out of bed, he heard a strange noise coming from the street. It was the sound of engines, many engines. Staggering to the front window, he couldn't believe his eyes. 7 SUVs were parked in front of his house. People were getting out of the vehicles carrying boxes and more boxes, all heading toward his door. Tyler thought he was delirious from the fever. "Mom, come see this," he shouted, still incredulous. Melissa ran to the window and froze. Her first reaction was fright, then confusion. Who were these people? What did they want at her house? Rebecca was the first to approach the door. Wearing simple clothes so as not to intimidate, she gently knocked on the worn wood. "Excuse me, my name is Rebecca. I'm looking for Tyler, the boy who helped a lady with a baby yesterday." Melissa slowly opened the door, still suspicious. Her years of struggle had taught her to be cautious with strangers. "That's me, ma'am." Tyler appeared behind his mother, still pale but curious. "Tyler," Rebecca smiled emotionally. "I'm the grandmother of the baby you helped yesterday. My name is Rebecca, but you can call me Aunt Becky." The revelation left everyone confused. The lady Tyler had helped didn't seem like someone who would know so many wealthy people. "I don't understand," said Melissa, instinctively shielding her children behind her. "May I explain?" Rebecca asked permission to enter. "It's a long story, but a very beautiful one." Reluctantly, Melissa let Rebecca in. The businesswoman looked around the simple house with a mix of nostalgia and sadness. That environment reminded her so much of her own childhood. "The lady you helped yesterday is named Margaret. She is my mother," Rebecca began to explain. "She was coming back from the doctor with my 2-year-old grandson, little Michael, when he started feeling unwell on the street. His fever spiked very quickly, and she got desperate." "But how did she know where I live?" Tyler asked, still confused. "She didn't. It was a neighbor of yours, Mrs. Jenkins, who filmed everything and posted it online. The video reached me through a friend," Rebecca smiled. "When I saw those images, I cried so much." Melissa still didn't fully understand the situation, but the sincerity in Rebecca's voice began to reassure her. "Why were you so moved?" asked Tyler, sitting on the worn-out sofa. "Because I grew up right here in this community. 30 years ago, I was just like you. I was cold, hungry, but I always tried to help those in need. My mother, your grandmother Margaret, taught me that kindness is the only wealth truly worth having." The revelation caused a deep silence in the room. Melissa looked at Rebecca, trying to recognize familiar traits from the neighborhood decades ago. "Are you Becky, Margaret's daughter? The laundry woman's daughter?" Melissa asked, her eyes wide. "Exactly. And you're Melissa who went to school with me at the public school?" Rebecca stood up, emotional. The two women hugged with tears in their eyes. They had been classmates and neighbors in childhood, but life had separated them when Rebecca got the scholarship and moved to study in another city. "I can't believe it's you," Melissa wiped her tears. "I always wondered what happened to you after you moved. I thought about you a lot over the years too." Rebecca held her old friend's hands. "And when I saw your son doing exactly what you would do, I knew I had to help." Tyler and his siblings watched the emotional reunion, still not fully understanding what was happening outside with all those SUVs. "Aunt Becky, why are there so many people on the street?" Anne asked with her childlike sweetness. "Because you deserve all the help in the world." Rebecca bent down to the girl's level. Tyler did something very special yesterday, and many people found out. They wanted to help you too. But we don't need help, Tyler said, with the typical pride of someone who has always fought alone. I know you are strong and brave, Rebecca replied affectionately. But even the bravest need help sometimes. And helping you also helps others, because you always share everything you have with those in need. Convinced by the explanation, Melissa allowed the group to come in to start delivering the donations. The first box contained new winter clothes for the whole family. Tyler got a jacket even nicer than the previous one, but he got worried. What if I find another baby who's cold? Can I give this one too? He asked innocently. The whole team of volunteers laughed emotionally at the question. Of course you can, my dear, replied Rebecca, but now you'll also have other options to keep warm. The next boxes contained food, hygiene products, and even toys for Jason and Anne, but the biggest surprise came when Robert, the owner of the clothing store, pulled Melissa aside for a private conversation. Melissa, I heard you work cleaning several houses. I have a proposal for you, Robert said discreetly. I need someone trustworthy to take care of the organization of my store. The salary is fixed with a formal contract, and you would work in just one place. Melissa's eyes filled with tears again. Working just one job, with labor rights, was a dream she didn't even dare to dream. You're serious? She asked, her voice choked. Completely serious. Rebecca told me about your story, and I was very impressed with how you raised your children. I want people with character working with me. Meanwhile, Tyler was talking with Susan, the owner of the supermarket, about school. How are your grades, Tyler? I try really hard, Auntie. I always get good grades, but sometimes it's hard to do my homework because I don't have supplies, he answered honestly. And what's your dream for the future? I want to be a doctor to take care of children. When I see a child suffering, my heart aches so much, Tyler said with a sparkle in his eyes. Susan exchanged meaningful looks with Rebecca. They had talked before about the possibility of helping with the boy's studies, and now they saw that he truly deserved all the support possible. Tyler, what if I told you I know a very good doctor who can guide you on what to study to make that dream come true? Susan asked. Really, Auntie? He would actually talk to me. Tyler could barely contain his excitement. Not only would he talk to you, but he could give you some private lessons on weekends, Susan smiled. He's my brother, Dr. Patrick, and when I told him your story, he became very interested in meeting you. The afternoon flew by with conversations, laughter, and many tears of emotion. But when the sun began to set, Rebecca realized she needed to explain an important part of the situation. Melissa, can I speak with you in private? Rebecca called her friend to the backyard. Of course. What is it? There's something I need to tell you about this house. Rebecca took a deep breath. When I was organizing this help, I did some research about documentation and discovered something serious. Melissa's face grew tense. Problems with documentation always meant complications she couldn't afford to resolve. What kind of problem? Actually, it's not exactly a problem. It's a good discovery, but complicated. Rebecca chose her words carefully. Do you know who the original owner of this land was? My ex-husband always said he bought it from his father, but I never saw the proper documents. When he left, I was left with just some old photocopies, Melissa explained. Well then, I did some research at the county clerk's office and discovered that this land legally belongs to your father, your children's father. But there's an important detail. Your ex-husband never made the official transfer. He's occupying it illegally. The information left Melissa stunned. On one hand, it meant she had rights to the house where she lived. On the other, it could create complicated legal problems. Does that mean I could lose my house? She asked, worried. Actually, it means the opposite. You have a right to the house, but we need to regularize the situation, Rebecca explained. I can help you with a lawyer and all the necessary documentation. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, please take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps us who are just starting out. Now continuing. That night, after everyone had left, the family gathered in the living room to talk about everything that had happened. Tyler was still processing the sudden changes in their lives. Mum, "All of this feels like a dream," he said, hugging his new jacket. "For me too, my son. Sometimes God sends us angels when we least expect it." Melissa kissed the heads of her 3 children. "Is Aunt Becky an angel?" Anne asked with childlike curiosity. "I think so, sweetheart. An angel who reminded me that true friends never forget about us." Melissa smiled. The next day, things began to move quickly. Rebecca arrived early with a lawyer to start resolving the house documentation issue. Dr. Harrison was a 60-year-old man, specialized in real estate law, who had offered to work on the case for free. "Melissa, the situation is quite favorable for you," the lawyer explained after reviewing the papers. "Your ex-husband truly has no claim to this property, and you have everything needed to sort out the situation." "How long will it take?" she asked. "With all the documentation we've gathered, about 3 months. But you can rest easy, because during this process, no one can remove you from here." Meanwhile, Tyler had started private lessons with Dr. Patrick. The pediatrician was impressed by the boy's intelligence and dedication. "Tyler has a natural talent for medicine," Dr. Patrick commented to Rebecca after the first lesson. "He asks very smart questions and shows genuine empathy for the suffering of others." "That reminds me of someone I know," Rebecca smiled, thinking of the kindness the boy had shown. But not everything was simple. Some people in the community had started commenting on the sudden change in Tyler's family's life, and not all the comments were positive. "There are folks saying you think you're rich now," remarked Mrs. Sullivan, a neighbor known for spreading gossip. "We're still the same as always, Mrs. Sullivan," Tyler replied politely. "The only difference is that now I can help more people too." And it was truly so. With the new jacket and other warm clothes, Tyler continued helping neighbors in need, but now had more resources to share. He started bringing extra snacks for classmates who had no lunch at school. Melissa was also adjusting to her new job at Robert's store. After years of working in various different homes, having a fixed location and regular hours seemed like a luxury. "How are things at the store?" Rebecca asked during a visit. "Better than I imagined. Robert is very kind and the other employees welcome me well. For the first time in years I can have dinner with my children every day," Melissa replied gratefully. But the period of peace would be interrupted by unexpected news. One morning, Tyler was awakened by loud knocks at the door. When Melissa opened it, she found a man around 40 years old, with unshaven beard and wrinkled clothes. "Hi, Melissa. Heard things have improved around here," said the man with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. It was Richard, Melissa's ex-husband and father of the children, who had abandoned the family 3 years ago without a word. "What do you want here, Richard?" Melissa asked coldly, blocking the entrance. "Well, I came to visit my children." "Can't a father visit his own children?" he said, trying to push his way through. Tyler appeared behind his mother, protecting his younger siblings who had hidden behind the sofa. "Daddy," Emma murmured, confused and frightened. "Hi, sweetie. Daddy's back." Richard attempted an affectionate tone, but the children didn't approach. "You can't just show up out of nowhere after 3 years," Melissa said firmly. "Actually, I can, because this house is mine, and I heard there are rich people helping you now. I think I can contribute to the children's education too." Richard's true intention became clear. He had learned about the changes in the family's life through gossip and wanted his share of the supposed fortune. "This house isn't yours, and you know it," Tyler said, surprising everyone with his firmness. "Look at this. The boy's grown up and now wants to challenge his father?" Richard laughed scornfully. "I'm not challenging anyone. I'm just speaking the truth." Tyler remained calm, but his heart was pounding. The argument was interrupted by the arrival of Rebecca, who had arranged to stop by that morning to take Tyler to the doctor for a checkup. "Good morning, Melissa," Rebecca greeted cheerfully, but quickly noticed the tension in the air. "Is something wrong?" "And who are you?" Richard asked aggressively. "I'm a family friend. And you?" "I'm her husband, and the father of these children," he replied, puffing out his chest. "Ex-husband," Melissa corrected quickly. "Rebecca, this is Richard. He showed up here after 3 years without a word." Rebecca immediately understood the situation. She had seen similar cases at her company, where people appeared out of nowhere when someone's financial situation improved. "I see. And may I ask the reason for your visit after all this time?" she asked directly. "I came to claim my rights. I heard there are rich people putting money here, and I'm the father of these children. I'm entitled to back child support. Richard lied shamelessly. What child support? You never gave a single dollar to these children? Melissa exploded. I can prove I tried, but you moved and I couldn't find you. He continued lying. Rebecca realized the situation could get complicated and decided to intervene diplomatically. Richard, from what I understand, you're interested in reconnecting with the children, is that it? She asked. Exactly, I'm a responsible father. Great. In that case, how about we start slowly? You can come visit them once a week, at an agreed time, so they can get used to your presence again, Rebecca suggested. The proposal caught Richard off guard. He didn't really want to spend time with the children. He just wanted access to what he imagined was a new source of money. That's not quite it, he stammered. I want to sort out the house situation, the documents, those kinds of things. Oh, you're talking about the house documentation, Rebecca smiled. That's wonderful. We have a lawyer handling that. Dr. Harrison will be very happy to talk to you about your rights and responsibilities. The lawyer would be able to quickly expose Richard's intentions, and he knew it. We don't need a lawyer to have a family conversation, he tried to back down. But we do, especially when it comes to official documentation, Rebecca insisted. Dr. Harrison can come here tomorrow if you'd like. Realizing he wouldn't get what he wanted easily, Richard changed his strategy. Fine, but I'll be back. The children are mine too, he said before leaving. After he was gone, the atmosphere in the house grew heavy. Tyler was visibly shaken, and the younger siblings remained quiet and scared. Mom, can he take us away? Emma asked with tears in her eyes. Never, my dear. Mommy won't let that happen. Melissa hugged the girl. Tyler, are you okay? Rebecca asked, noticing the boy was very thoughtful. I just don't understand how someone can abandon their family and then come back wanting something, he said sadly. Unfortunately, there are people like that in the world, but you have many people who truly care about you, Rebecca comforted. That night, Rebecca spoke at length with Dr. Harrison about the situation. The lawyer was clear about Richard's rights. Legally, he is the children's father and can request visitation, but regarding the house, he has no rights if he never made the official transfer, Dr. Harrison explained. And if he starts bothering the family? Rebecca asked. In that case, we can file for a protective order. Abandonment for 3 years is more than enough reason to restrict contact, especially if he's causing trauma to the children. The next day, Dr. Harrison showed up at the scheduled time, but Richard never appeared. Not that day nor the following days. He had realized his strategy wouldn't work and had given up temporarily. As the weeks passed, the family's life returned to normal, but now a much better normal. Tyler continued to excel in his private lessons with Dr. Patrick. He's already ready to start a pre-med course, Dr. Patrick commented to Rebecca, but she needs extra help in math and chemistry. We can arrange that, Rebecca answered without hesitation. Susan, the supermarket owner, offered to pay for the preparatory courses. Robert assured that Melissa would have flexible hours when needed to help with her children's studies. But the biggest surprise came a few weeks later when Mrs. Margaret, Rebecca's mother and grandmother of the baby Tyler had helped, asked to make a special visit. Tyler, I brought someone who really wanted to meet you, said Mrs. Margaret, entering the house with a baby in her arms. It was little Michael, now 2 years and 2 months old, wearing the exact same jacket Tyler had given him on that cold day. He still wears the jacket? Tyler asked emotionally. Every single day, and whenever I put it on him, he says, "Good boy." Mrs. Margaret smiled. He remembers you. Michael approached Tyler with curiosity, gently touching the older boy's face. It was a moment of pure emotion for everyone present. Want to see something interesting? Mrs. Margaret asked. Michael, where's the good boy? The baby immediately pointed to Tyler and smiled, babbling words only he understood but clearly trying to communicate. He's trying to say, "Thank you," interpreted Mrs. Margaret. From that day on, Mrs. Margaret began bringing Michael to visit Tyler regularly. The baby had clearly formed a special bond with his little hero, and these visits became very special moments for both of them. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, please take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps us who are just starting out. Now continuing. During these visits, Tyler discovered he had a natural talent for handling small children. He played with Michael with a patience and tenderness that impressed all the adults present. "You really have a way with children," observed Dr. Patrick during one of his lessons. "That will be very important when you become a pediatrician." "Dr. Patrick, can I ask you a question?" Tyler said timidly. "Of course. Do you really think I can make it? As a doctor, I mean, sometimes it seems like too big a dream for someone like me." Dr. Patrick stopped everything he was doing and looked directly into the boy's eyes. "Tyler, let me tell you something. I also grew up in a poor family. My father was a street vendor and my mother took in laundry. When I said I wanted to be a doctor, many people laughed." "Really?" "Really. But you know what made me succeed? It wasn't money. It wasn't luck. It was the desire to help people and dedication to studies. And you have both of those things in abundance." The doctor's words gave Tyler a confidence he had never felt before. His dreams weren't impossible. They just needed work and perseverance. Meanwhile, the house documentation was progressing well. Dr. Harrison had managed to prove that Richard never had any rights to the property and that Melissa's family were the legitimate owners. "In 2 more weeks you'll have the final deed," announced the lawyer during a meeting. "Does that mean the house is really ours?" Melissa asked, still incredulous. "Completely yours. And more, we discovered the land is worth much more than we imagined. The area is appreciating a lot." The news brought a feeling of security the family had never experienced before. For the first time in years, Melissa slept through the night without worrying about eviction or housing problems. But the good news didn't stop there. Robert offered Melissa a promotion at work to manage a second store he was opening. "Melissa, you have everything I need: honesty, dedication, and the intelligence to handle people. The salary would be almost double your current one." "Robert, I don't even know how to thank you for everything you've done for us," Melissa said with tears in her eyes. "You don't need to thank us at all. You deserve this opportunity on your own merit." Tyler also received a special offer. Susan had spoken with the principal of one of the best private schools in the city, who offered to give him a full scholarship. "It's a school that prepares students very well for the medical school entrance exams," Susan explained, "and they have excellent labs where you can have hands-on classes." "But what about my siblings? I don't want to leave them behind," Tyler worried. "We talked about that too. The school has a social program that can include Jason and Emma when they reach the right age." It was more than Tyler had ever dreamed of. His entire family would have real opportunities to change their lives through education. A few weeks later, the day came for the move to the new school. Tyler was nervous but excited. Melissa prepared a new backpack with all the school supplies he needed. "Son, remember what we always talked about. Be humble, study hard, and never forget where you came from," she advised him before he left. "I'll never forget, Mom, and I'll never stop helping those in need." At the new school, Tyler initially felt intimidated. The other students came from wealthy families and talked about things he didn't know, but his intelligence and kindness soon won over classmates and teachers. "Are you the Tyler from the jacket story?" asked Sophia, a classmate. "My mom saw the video and was very moved." "That's me," Tyler replied simply. "That's so cool. My mom said you're an example for all of us." Soon Tyler discovered there were other scholarship students at the school from humble families like his. They formed a study group and helped each other with the most difficult subjects. Professor Johnson, the chemistry teacher, was particularly impressed with Tyler's dedication. "Tyler, have you ever thought about participating in the Science Olympiad?" he asked after class. "Can I participate even though I'm new to the school?" "Of course. In fact, I think you have a great chance of doing very well." Preparing for the Olympiad became another enjoyable challenge in Tyler's life. He studied diligently, always with the support of his family and new friends. At home, the changes were also evident. Jason and Emma were more excited about school, inspired by their older brother's example. The house had been renovated with the money Melissa managed to save from her new salary. "Mom, can I invite some friends over to study here?" Tyler asked one day. "Of course, son. Our home will always be open to your friends." When Tyler's classmates visited for the first time, they were impressed not by the size or luxury of the house, but by the atmosphere of love and togetherness they found there. "Your family is really nice, Tyler," commented Peter, one of the classmates. "You can tell you all really care for each other. We always supported each other through hard times. That made us closer," Tyler explained. During this time, Michael continued his regular visits. Now almost 3 years old, he was already saying a few words and always asked to play with Tyler. "Tyler!" he shouted every time he saw the older boy. "Hi, Michael. How are you?" Tyler always responded with the same affection as the first day. The bond between them had become something very special. Michael saw Tyler as an older brother, and Tyler felt responsible for protecting and caring for the little one. It was during one of these visits that something unexpected happened. Michael was playing in the backyard when he tripped and hit his head on a rock. He immediately started crying hard, and blood came from the wound. "Mrs. Margaret, come quick!" Tyler shouted, picking Michael up in his arms. Mrs. Margaret ran, but when she saw the blood, she panicked. "Oh my God, he's really hurt. What do I do?" Tyler, remembering the first aid lessons Dr. Patrick had taught him, stayed calm. "Mrs. Margaret, do you have a clean cloth? We need to stop the bleeding first." With steady hands, Tyler gently pressed a clean cloth onto Michael's wound, speaking calmly to him to keep him relaxed. "Stay calm, Michael. It's just a little cut. Tyler is here taking care of you." The baby gradually stopped crying, trusting Tyler completely. Within minutes, the bleeding had stopped. "Now we need to take him to the doctor to see if he needs stitches," Tyler instructed. At the hospital, Dr. Patrick was on duty, and he himself attended to Michael. "Tyler, you did everything just right. The injury isn't serious, but it could have been worse if you hadn't stopped the bleeding quickly," the doctor praised. "I just did what you taught me in class. That shows you were born to be a doctor. You reacted with calm and knowledge in a real emergency." The episode deeply impressed Mrs. Margaret and Rebecca. They saw that Tyler had matured far beyond his years, keeping his natural kindness but gaining knowledge and responsibility. "Rebecca, I think I need to tell you something," Mrs. Margaret said a few days later. "What is it, Mom?" "That day when Tyler helped me on the street, it wasn't exactly by chance." "What do you mean?" "I was coming back from the doctor with Michael, who had had a high fever during the night. The doctor said everything was fine, but on the street he started feeling sick again. I was desperate and a bit lost when I saw the boy." "You weren't lost by chance, were you?" "No. I was specifically looking for Melissa's house. I had heard from the neighbors that she was having a hard time with her kids, and I wanted to help," Mrs. Margaret confessed. "Mom, why didn't you tell me this before?" "Because I wanted to be sure that Tyler was special on his own, not because of the circumstances. And after he helped Michael, I knew I had made the right decision." The revelation made Rebecca even more emotional about the whole story. Her mother, even without abundant resources, always had a generous heart and had identified a family that needed help. "So you were testing his character?" Rebecca asked. "In a way, yes. And he passed the test with flying colors. He didn't hesitate for a second to give his own jacket to warm an unknown child." This conversation happened at a special time. Tyler was preparing for the Science Olympics, and the results of the first rounds were coming out. "Tyler! Tyler!" Melissa shouted upon receiving a call from the school. "You passed to the second round of the Olympics." "Really, Mom?" Tyler could hardly believe it. "Not only did you pass, but you were among the top 10 in the state." The news spread quickly through the community. Mrs. Jenkins was the first neighbor to show up to congratulate him. "I knew that boy would go far," she said proudly. "He's been different since he was little." Professor Johnson called personally to congratulate him and explain what the next round would be like. "Tyler, you're going to the capital to compete with the best students in the state. It's a great opportunity, but also a big responsibility." "Professor, I'll do my best," Tyler promised. Preparing for the second round required even more dedication. Tyler studied every morning before school and every afternoon after classes, but he never stopped helping at home or playing with Michael during visits. "Aren't you overdoing it with the studying?" Melissa worried. "No, Mom. I like studying, and the more I learn, the more I want to learn." Dr. Patrick intensified the private lessons, focusing on the topics that would appear in the Olympics. "Tyler, you are progressing in an impressive way. In just a few months, You've advanced what many students take years to learn. It's just that I have a very strong motivation, Dr. Patrick. Whenever I study, I think of all the people I can help when I become a doctor. Then came the day to travel to the capital to take the competition exam. It was the first time Tyler had left his town, and he was nervous but excited. Rebecca offered to go with him, along with Melissa. "You don't have to come with me," Tyler said. "I can manage." "Of course we're going," Melissa replied. "It's a very special moment for our whole family." In the capital, Tyler was amazed by the size of the university where the exam would be held. Hundreds of students from all over the state were there, many accompanied by expensive private tutors and wealthy families. "Mom, what if I don't make it?" Tyler confessed his insecurity. "Son, you've already achieved the most important thing, getting here. No matter the result, we are already proud of you," Melissa reassured him. "And remember, you're not just here representing yourself, but our whole community," Rebecca added. "Many children back home will be inspired by your example." The words gave Tyler the confidence he needed. During the exam, he remembered everything he had studied, the lessons with Dr. Patrick, the experiences in the new school's lab. 3 hours later, when he left the room, he was exhausted but satisfied. "How did it go, son?" Melissa asked anxiously. "I think I did well, Mom. I was able to answer almost all the questions. The results would only come out the following week, so they went back home to wait." Those were days of anxiety, but Tyler tried to maintain his normal routine of studying and playing with his siblings. It was on a Thursday morning that the phone rang. It was Professor Johnson, his voice emotional. "Tyler, are you sitting down?" "I am." "Why, Professor?" "You came in 3rd place in the state." "3rd place, Tyler. You will represent our state in the national competition." Tyler dropped the phone on the floor. Melissa, who had heard everything, began to cry with joy. "Son, you did it, you did it." Jason and Emma, even without fully understanding the significance, began jumping for joy seeing their brother and mother's emotion. The news spread through the school, the community, the town. Tyler had become a local inspiration, an example that with dedication and opportunity, any child can achieve big dreams. The town mayor asked to hold a ceremony in Tyler's honor, but he asked for it to be something simple, at the very public school where he had studied before. "I want the children at my old school to see that they can do it too," he explained. The ceremony was emotional. Hundreds of children from the community came to see Tyler receive the honor. He gave a simple but touching speech. "I was always just like you. The only difference is that I got opportunities and people who believed in me. But any one of you can get to where I am, and even further." After the ceremony, a little girl about 7 years old approached him. "Tyler, can you teach me how to study like you?" "Of course, but first tell me, what is your dream?" "I want to be a teacher to teach other children like me." "Then let's start right away. Every Saturday morning here at the school, I will give extra lessons for anyone who wants to learn." Tyler's proposal started a movement in the community. Several teenagers who had been inspired by his story offered to help as tutors. Retired teachers came back to help voluntarily. Within a few months, the tutoring project was serving more than 50 children on weekends. Rebecca managed to get donations of materials and snacks for all the participants. "Tyler, you've created something much bigger than you ever imagined," commented the municipal school principal. "The children's grades have improved so much since they started participating in your project." "It's just that when we study together, it becomes easier and more fun," Tyler explained. Michael, now 3 years old, also attended the tutoring sessions, obviously not to study, but to play with Tyler and the other children. "Tyler, teacher," he would say proudly, making everyone laugh. Then came the time for the national competition. This time, Tyler would travel to Washington, D.C., representing not just his town, but the entire state. The responsibility was great, but he was prepared. Dr. Patrick had intensified the preparation sessions even more. "Tyler, you have a real chance to be among the top 10 in the country. That would guarantee you a full scholarship to any university you choose." "Dr. Patrick, regardless of the outcome, I've already gained the most important thing, knowledge and the opportunity to help others." That mindset is exactly what will make you successful in life, whether as a doctor or in any other field. The night before the trip, the community organized a farewell party for Tyler. The school hall was packed with neighbors, teachers, classmates, and friends who had been following his journey. "I want to tell everyone that none of this would have been possible without your support," Tyler told the crowd. "Every word of encouragement, every prayer, every person who believed in me made a difference." Mrs. Margaret was there with Michael, who wouldn't let go of Tyler's hand. "My grandson is going to miss his big brother," she said emotionally. "I'll be back soon, Michael, and I'll bring a surprise for you," Tyler promised the little one. "What surprise, Tyler? You'll have to wait and see." In Washington, D.C., the competition brought together 120 students from all over the United States. Tyler had never seen so many brilliant young people gathered in one place. During the 3 days of tests and activities, he met teenagers from backgrounds very different from his own, but all united by their passion for knowledge. "Where are you from?" asked Susan, a girl from Minnesota. "From the countryside of New York City, and you?" "From Minneapolis. How nice to meet someone who also comes from a small town. Sometimes I feel intimidated by people from the big cities." I thought the same thing, but then I realized that what matters is what we know, not where we come from. Tyler made several friends during the competition. He discovered that many of the participants had stories of overcoming challenges similar to his own. The tests were challenging, covering advanced topics in biology, chemistry, physics, and mathematics. But Tyler felt confident. He was well prepared thanks to the lessons with Dr. Patrick and the support of all his teachers. On the last day, before the results were announced, the organizers held a lecture on scientific careers. Several doctors, researchers, and scientists shared their journeys. One speaker particularly caught Tyler's attention. It was Dr. Richard, a pediatrician who had grown up in a poor neighborhood in New York City and now ran a children's hospital. "Young people, don't let your background determine your destiny," said Dr. Richard. "I came from poverty, but that gave me extra motivation to help children who are going through the same hardships I experienced." After the lecture, Tyler approached the doctor. "Dr. Richard, my name is Tyler. I also grew up in a humble community and dream of becoming a pediatrician." "That's wonderful. Tell me a bit about your story." Tyler quickly told him about the jacket, about Michael, about his community tutoring project. "Tyler, you're already a leader in your community. That's exactly the kind of profile we need in medicine." Dr. Richard was impressed. "Do you think I have a real chance?" "I'm sure of it. And when you're in college, get in touch with me. I can help you with internships at my hospital." The conversation with Dr. Richard gave Tyler a new perspective on his future. Not only could he become a doctor, but there were people willing to help him on this journey. Then came the most awaited moment, the announcement of the results. The 120 participants gathered in the main auditorium to hear the final ranking. In 10th place, the presenter started with the last ones. As the names were called, Tyler felt his heart beating faster. Rebecca and Melissa, who had traveled to be with him, held his hands tightly. In 5th place, John Charles from Oregon. In 4th place, Mary Elizabeth from Los Angeles. In 3rd place, and Peter Henry from Pennsylvania. In 2nd place, Anne Rebecca from Georgia. Tyler closed his eyes. It meant that either he had come in 1st place, or he hadn't even made the top 5. And the 1st place of the National Science Olympiad, Tyler Matthews from New York City. The auditorium erupted in applause. Tyler couldn't believe what he was hearing. Melissa and Rebecca were crying with emotion as they hugged him. "Son, you did it. 1st place in the entire United States," Melissa shouted through tears. Tyler went up on stage in a state of shock. He received the trophy and the gold medal with his hands trembling with emotion. "Tyler, how do you feel being the national champion?" asked a reporter. "I feel very grateful to all the people who supported me. This result isn't just mine, it belongs to my entire community," he replied with maturity. "What are your plans for the future?" "I'm going to study medicine and then return to my town to care for the children in my area. I want to give back all the help I received." The interview was broadcast nationally, and soon Tyler's story was circulating throughout the United States. The humble boy who had given his jacket to an unknown baby was now the national science champion. Back in his town, Tyler was welcomed as a hero. Hundreds of people gathered at the airport to celebrate his arrival. Michael was there wearing the famous jacket, holding a sign with a drawing of Tyler Champion. "Michael," Tyler ran to pick up the little boy. "Look what I brought for you." It was a small medal just like his, but made especially for children. "For me, Tyler?" Michael asked with shining eyes. "For you, because you're a champion too. It was while taking care of you that I learned I wanted to be a doctor." The medal became Michael's most precious treasure, which he wouldn't let go of even to sleep. In the following days, several universities contacted him offering full scholarships to Tyler. He chose the University of California, which had one of the best medical programs in the country. "Why UC?" asked the director of a private university that had offered an even better scholarship. "Because it's a public university, and I want to prove that those who come from public schools can also be among the best," Tyler explained. His answer went viral on social media, inspiring thousands of public school students across the country. Then came the moment the whole family had dreamed of: Tyler's high school graduation. He was chosen as the class speaker and gave an emotional speech. "3 years ago, I was just a poor boy who gave his jacket to a baby on a cold street. Today, I'm here about to enter university to fulfill my dream of becoming a doctor. This was only possible because special people believed in me and gave me opportunities. But I want to tell all my classmates, today's diploma isn't an end, it's a beginning. We have the responsibility to use what we've learned to transform our community, our city, our country. And most importantly, never forget where you came from and never stop helping those in need. Small gestures can change entire lives." The speech was interrupted several times by emotional applause. In the audience, Melissa was crying with pride, Rebecca was smiling with tears in her eyes, and Michael was shouting, "Tyler, Tyler," without fully understanding, but feeling the emotion of the moment. After the graduation, there was a community celebration. The whole neighborhood participated, with each family contributing something. It was a celebration for the entire community, who saw in Tyler the proof that dreams can come true. During the celebration, Mrs. Jenkins approached Tyler. "My son, do you remember that I was the one who filmed you helping Michael?" "Of course, Mrs. Jenkins. You started all of this. I just want you to know that video was the most important thing I've ever done in my life. Seeing everything that happened after, it's just too emotional. You changed my life with that video. Thank you so much for believing my story was worth sharing." But the most special night would still be the farewell dinner before Tyler left for New York City. The family organized an intimate dinner with only the closest people. There were Rebecca with Mrs. Margaret and Michael, Dr. Patrick, Professor Johnson, Robert and Susan, as well as Jason and Emma. "I want to take this moment to thank each one of you," Tyler began. "Dr. Patrick, thank you for teaching me not just subjects, but also how to be a compassionate doctor. Professor Johnson, thank you for seeing my potential when I didn't even believe in myself. Robert and Susan, thank you for taking care of our family as if you were relatives. Rebecca and Mrs. Margaret, thank you for proving that kindness still exists in the world. And Michael," Tyler picked up the little boy, "thank you for teaching me that helping others is the most important thing in life. Lastly, thank you to my mother, who taught me all the values that brought me here. And to my siblings, Jason and Emma, who always supported me and are now my inspiration to keep fighting." There wasn't a dry eye at the table. Everyone understood that this moment marked the end of one chapter and the beginning of another, even more challenging one. "Tyler, are you going to miss us?" Emma asked with the sweetness of her 8 years. "I'm going to miss you all so much, but you'll always be in my heart, and I'll come back home for the holidays. And I'm going to keep tutoring on Saturdays." Jason, now 10 years old, took on the responsibility. "Really?" Tyler was surprised by his brother's maturity. "Really? You taught me that helping others is important. Now it's my turn to carry on your work." Jason's declaration deeply moved Tyler. His example had inspired not just children in the community, but his own siblings. On the morning of his departure, hundreds of people gathered outside his house to say goodbye to Tyler. It was a mix of joy for his success and sadness for the separation. Tyler carried only a simple suitcase, but in his heart, he carried all the experience and love from those people who had changed his life. "Michael, take care of everyone here for me, okay?" he said as he said goodbye to the little boy. "I will, Tyler, and when you come back, I'll know how to read," Michael promised. "I'm sure you will. You're very smart." The bus arrived and it was time for the hardest goodbye, the one with his mother. "Son, are you sure you want to go alone?" Melissa asked for the 1,000th time. "I am, Mom. I need to learn to manage on my own now. But you know you can call me any time, right?" "I know, my love. I just want you to take good care of yourself and keep being the wonderful person you are." "I promise, Mum. And I also promise I'll come back with a degree to take care of all the children here." Their final hug lasted long minutes. Mother and son knew this separation was necessary, but that didn't make it any less painful. As the bus pulled away, Tyler waved from the window until he could no longer see his community. His journey was just beginning, but the solid foundations he had built there would always be his safe harbor. At the university, Tyler dedicated himself with the same intensity he had shown in high school. His professors soon noticed his exceptional talent and genuine motivation to help people. "Tyler has something different from the other students," commented the anatomy professor. "He doesn't study just to pass exams. He studies because he truly wants to understand how he can heal people." During the holidays, Tyler always returned home and resumed the tutoring classes in the community. With each return, he found more children participating in the project. "How is college, Tyler?" the curious children would ask. "Hard, but very interesting. I'm learning a lot about how the body works and how we can help when someone gets sick." "Are you going to be a real doctor?" a little girl asked in admiration. "Yes, I am. And when I graduate, I'm going to come back here to take care of all of you." Michael, now 5 years old, was always the most excited about Tyler's visits. "Tyler, did you bring the heart listening thing?" he would ask, referring to the stethoscope Tyler had received in his first year of college. "I did. Want to listen to your heart?" "Yes. And then I'll listen to yours too." These playful moments with Michael further reinforced Tyler's calling to pediatrics. The natural ease with which he handled children impressed everyone around him. During his 4th year of college, Tyler began his hospital rotations. It was then that he had his first real contact with sick children. "Dr. Tyler is here," shouted a 6-year-old child hospitalized with pneumonia. "I'm not a doctor yet, just a student," Tyler laughed, but was touched by the children's affection. "But you're going to be the best doctor in the world," the little girl insisted. The internship supervisors were impressed by how easily Tyler won the trust of his young patients. "Tyler has a natural gift for dealing with children," observed Dr. Fiona, head of pediatrics. "It's rare to see a student with such sensitivity." "I learned by taking care of my younger brother, whose name is Michael," Tyler explained. "Michael must be very lucky to have a brother like you." "Actually, I'm the lucky one. It was by taking care of him that I discovered my calling." During his residency, Tyler specialized more and more in pediatrics. His thesis was on the impact of affection in the treatment of hospitalized children, based on his observations during his rotations. "Your research scientifically proves something you already practice intuitively," commented his advisor. "Affection truly accelerates the healing process." "That's exactly what I wanted to demonstrate, Professor, that treating a child isn't just about curing the illness, but also caring for their emotional well-being." Then came the most awaited moment, his medical school graduation. His entire family traveled to New York City to attend the ceremony. Michael, now 8 years old, was especially excited. "Now Tyler is going to be a real doctor," he told everyone he met. "It's true, Michael. And do you know who my first patient is going to be?" Tyler joked. "Who?" "You! I'm going to give you a full checkup to see if you're growing up strong and healthy." "Really? That's so cool." During the graduation, Tyler was chosen as the class valedictorian in recognition of his academic performance and leadership among his peers. In his speech, he told his whole story from the day he gave his jacket to Michael until that very moment. 8 years ago, I was a 12-year-old boy who had no idea it would even be possible to get here. Today, I am a graduated doctor, ready to return to my community and care for the children who need it most. I want to dedicate this diploma to all the people who believed in me, my mother Melissa, my siblings Jason and Emma, my friend Rebecca Wilson, Dr. Patrick, and especially to Michael, who taught me the true meaning of caring for others. And I want to say to all the young people who might be watching us, it doesn't matter where you come from. With dedication and opportunity, you can achieve any dream. The audience rose in an emotional standing ovation. In the crowd, Melissa cried with pride. Rebecca smiled with tears in her eyes, and Michael applauded enthusiastically. After the graduation, Dr. Richard, the doctor Tyler had met at the Science Olympiad, approached him. "Tyler, do you remember me?" "Dr. Richard, of course I remember. You were one of my inspirations. And you became exactly the doctor I hoped you would. I have a proposal for you. How about doing your residency at my hospital and then opening a clinic in your hometown? Are you serious?" "Completely serious. I believe you can do a lot of good for the children in your region." It was more than Tyler had ever dreamed. Not only would he return home as a doctor, but he would have the support of one of the best pediatricians in the country. The 2-year residency in New York City passed quickly. Tyler specialized in pediatric cardiology, an area that had always fascinated him ever since he started playing at listening to Michael's heart with a toy stethoscope. During this period, Michael visited Tyler regularly at the hospital. Now 10 years old, he had become a sort of mascot for the pediatrics department. "Michael is our healthiest patient," the nurses would joke. "He only comes here to visit Dr. Tyler. He's going to be a doctor just like Tyler when he grows up," Michael announced to anyone who would listen. "Really? You want to be a doctor too?" Tyler asked, moved. "I do. To take care of kids like you take care of me." Michael's declaration brought an emotional closure for Tyler. The boy he had helped with a simple jacket now wanted to follow in his footsteps in medicine. The long-awaited day finally arrived, Tyler's permanent return to his hometown, but this time he returned as Dr. Tyler, a certified pediatrician ready to open his clinic. The community organized a huge party to welcome him. The same street where it all began was decorated with banners and balloons. "Welcome back, Dr. Tyler," the crowd cheered. The clinic had been built with the help of the entire community. Rebecca coordinated the construction, Robert supplied materials, Susan organized the fundraising campaign, and dozens of neighbors contributed volunteer work. The clinic turned out so beautiful. Tyler was moved seeing the simple but very well-kept building. At the entrance, there was a special sign. Dr. Tyler's Pediatric Clinic, where small gestures turn into big dreams. "Do you like the phrase?" asked Rebecca. "Perfect. It sums up our whole story." The opening was marked by a special symbolic moment. Michael, now 11 years old, was the clinic's first official patient. "So, Dr. Michael," Tyler joked during the checkup, "how are you feeling?" "Very well, Dr. Tyler. Ready to help other boys too." "Great, because you will need to help me indeed. You're going to be my special assistant to talk to the children who get scared." "Really? I'm going to actually work at the clinic?" "Of course. Nobody understands kids better than a kid." In the first few months, the clinic served hundreds of children from the region. Tyler didn't charge for appointments for families in need, supporting the clinic with private pay and insurance patients. "Dr. Tyler, are you sure you can do checkups for free?" asked Mr. Thompson, the owner of the convenience store where it all began. "I'm sure, Mr. Thompson. A sick child shouldn't go without care for lack of money." "You're just like you were as a little boy, always thinking of others first." Tyler's reputation as a doctor grew quickly. But more than his technical skill, it was his sensitivity in patient care that impressed the parents. "Doctor, my daughter won't take her medicine no matter what," complained a mother. "Let me talk to her." Tyler knelt down to the child's level. "Hi, beautiful, what's your name?" "Julie." "Julie, did you know that medicines are like little soldiers that go into our bodies to fight the germs that make us sick?" "Really? Really? And you want to help the little soldiers win the battle, right?" "I do. So let's take the medicine together. I'll take a sip of water and you take the medicine. Deal?" "Deal." This kind of approach made Tyler the most beloved pediatrician in the region. The children weren't afraid to go to appointments. On the contrary, they got excited. Michael continued to be his special assistant, helping to entertain and calm other children during appointments. "Michael is the best assistant I've ever had," Tyler would tell parents. "He understands children like no one else." "It's true. My daughter became much calmer after talking to him," confirmed a mother. 2 years after the clinic opened, Tyler received an unexpected offer. The state government wanted to hire him to coordinate a child health program for underprivileged communities. "Dr. Tyler, your work here has become a reference in the state," explained the health secretary. "We want to replicate your model in other cities." "Does that mean I'll have to leave here?" "Not necessarily. You would coordinate the program from your clinic, traveling to other cities only when necessary." The proposal was tempting. Tyler could expand his impact, helping children in dozens of cities, but he wanted to hear the community's opinion before deciding. "What do you all think?" he asked during a meeting with neighbors and friends. "I think you should accept," said Melissa, proud of her son. "You can help many more children. But what if I end up traveling too much and can't properly care for the children here?" "Dr. Tyler, you taught us that helping others is important," said Jason, now 17 and about to start college for physical education. "Now it's time to help children in other cities too. And I can help more at the clinic when you travel," offered Emma at 15, already showing interest in pursuing a nursing career. "And me too." Michael, at 13, continued to be the most dedicated special assistant. With the support of family and community, Tyler accepted the proposal. The Small Gestures, Big Dreams program was launched in 20 cities across the state. "The program's name was your inspiration, wasn't it?" asked the secretary. "It was. It all started with a small gesture, giving a jacket to a baby, and look what it turned into." The program was an absolute success. In less than a year, it had significantly reduced infant mortality in the participating cities. "Dr. Tyler, you've created a model that is saving hundreds of lives," congratulated Dr. Richard during a visit. "Actually, we created it. This was only possible because I had the support of special people from the very beginning." Michael, now a teenager, continued to be a fundamental part of Tyler's work. He had become a leader among the community's children and helped organize health campaigns. "Michael, have you decided what you'll study in college yet?" Tyler asked during one of his birthdays. "Yes, I'm going to study medicine just like you. I'm already studying with Anne for the entrance exams." "Really? That's wonderful. We'll have another doctor in the family." "Actually, we'll have two," Anne interrupted. "I changed my mind. I'm going to study medicine too. And I'm going to study physical education, but specialized in activities for children," added Jason. "That way we can work together on child health projects." Tyler could hardly believe what he was hearing. His siblings and Michael, all inspired by his journey, had chosen careers that would allow them to work together in the future. "Guys, you don't have to do this just because of me," he said emotionally. "It's not because of you, Tyler," Emma explained. "It's because you showed us how good it feels to help people, and we want to feel that same satisfaction." "And because we don't want any child to go through what we went through," added Jason. "And I want to repay all the kindness I received when I was little," Michael finished. At that moment, Tyler understood that his greatest success hadn't been becoming a doctor, nor winning the science Olympiad, nor opening the clinic. His greatest success had been inspiring other people to want to do good. 5 years later, the prophecy came true. Michael graduated from medical school, followed by Emma the next year. Jason had already been working as a physical educator, specialized in children, for 2 years. "Now we're a complete team," celebrated Tyler on Emma's graduation day. "The family that takes care of families," joked Michael, now 22 years old. Together, they expanded the program to the entire state and began receiving invitations from other states. The original clinic had transformed into a national reference center for community pediatrics. "You know what makes me proudest?" Tyler asked during a family dinner. "What?" everyone replied in chorus. "It's that each of you kept the essence of what we learned, that no matter how high we rise, we must never forget where we came from or stop helping those in need." "We learned that from you," said Melissa, now 55 years old, and administrative coordinator of all the clinics. Actually, I learned from you. I learned from the mother who taught me values, from Michael who showed me the joy of caring, from Jason and Emma who proved to me that example is the best way to teach. That evening, they received a special visit, Mrs. Margaret, now 80 years old but still lucid and active. Mrs. Margaret, everyone stood up to greet her. "I came to bring you something," she said with a mysterious smile. From the closet, she took out a small green jacket, very well preserved. "This is the jacket that Tyler gave to Michael 15 years ago." "You kept it all this time?" Tyler asked emotionally. "I did, and now I want to return it to you, not as an ordinary jacket, but as a symbol of everything it represented." "But, Mrs. Margaret, this jacket is yours, Michael's." "No, my dear. This jacket belongs to your story, and I think it's time for it to become an even greater symbol." "How so?" "How about making it the official symbol of your program? That way, every child who gets care will know it all started with a small act of kindness." The idea was perfect. The jacket was framed and placed at the main entrance of the original clinic, along with the complete story of how it all began. Just below, a plaque read, "This jacket represents the power of a small gesture." In 2010, a 12-year-old boy gave his only warm garment to warm an unknown baby. Today, that gesture has become a network of care that has served over 50,000 children across the country. "Perfect," said Michael, upon seeing the installation. "Now, every child who enters here will know that small gestures can change the world. And they'll know they too can make a difference," added Emma. "No matter how old they are," completed Jason. On the day of the memorial's official inauguration, hundreds of people gathered at the clinic. Not only family and friends were there, but dozens of children who had been cared for over the years. "Dr. Tyler," shouted a 5-year-old girl, "look, I brought my doll to meet the famous jacket." "How precious, Sophia. And what did you think of the jacket's story?" "I thought it was really cool, and when I grow up, I'm going to give my clothes to children in need too." "I'm sure you will, Sophia. You already have such a big heart." During the ceremony, Tyler gave a moving speech. "This jacket represents so much more than a piece of clothing. It stands as proof that we don't need to be rich, famous, or powerful to change the world. Sometimes all it takes is a generous heart and the courage to take action. 15 years ago, when I put this jacket on Michael, I never imagined that gesture would change not only our lives, but the lives of thousands of people. Today, our network serves children in 200 cities. We have 50 pediatricians trained through our program, and over 1,000 volunteers spread across the country. But most importantly, every person here today knows they can make a difference in someone's life. Age doesn't matter, social status doesn't matter. What matters is the size of your heart and the willingness to help. That's why I want to invite everyone here. Leave with the certainty that you too can be agents of change. Look around you, notice who needs help, and don't hesitate to lend a hand. Because if there's one thing I've learned over all these years, it's that kindness is contagious. One act of love sparks another, and another, and another, creating an endless chain of hope. The speech was interrupted several times by emotional applause. When it ended, a special surprise awaited everyone. A children's orchestra, made up of kids cared for at the clinics, played a special song composed for the occasion. The lyrics said, "Small gestures, big dreams, in every beating heart, a seed of hope that never falls apart." The jacket that warmed a baby on a cold morning became an embrace that still guides us today. We are children of this story of love and of care. We grew up knowing that no one just stands there. Small gestures, big dreams, in every hand that's extended, a new opportunity for love to be befriended. There wasn't a single person in the audience who wasn't crying with emotion. The song perfectly captured what everyone had lived and witnessed. After the ceremony, Michael approached Tyler. "Tyler, can I call you that like when I was little?" "Of course. For you, I'll always be Tyler. I wanted to thank you for changing my life." "Michael, you're the one who changed my life. If it weren't for you, I never would have discovered my calling." "But you gave me so much more than a jacket that day. You gave me an example of how to be a good person. And you gave me a purpose. You showed me that caring for others is the most important thing in the world." The two shared a long hug, just like they had ever since Michael was a baby. Around them, the celebration continued, but in that moment, they were simply reliving 15 years of true friendship. When night fell, the family gathered at home for an intimate dinner. Everyone was there: Melissa, Tyler, Jason, Emma, Michael, Rebecca, Mrs. Margaret, Dr. Patrick, now retired but always present, and so many others who had become family along this journey. "Everyone, I'd like to propose a toast," said Tyler, raising his glass of juice. "To what?" everyone asked. "To the small gestures that turn into big dreams. To the encounters that seem casual but change destinies. To the people who believe in us even when we don't believe in ourselves. And most of all, to the endless power of love." "Cheers," everyone toasted emotionally. "And may this story inspire others to make their own small gestures," added Michael. "Because when we do good without expecting a reward, the universe conspires to make wonderful things happen," Emma philosophized. "And that's how new stories begin, just as beautiful as ours," Gustavo concluded. That night, before going to sleep, Tyler went to the clinic to take one last look at the framed jacket. He gently tapped the glass and whispered, "Thank you for starting all this. Thank you for teaching me that love is the most powerful force in the world. And thank you for continuing to inspire children every day." Outside, Michael watched through the window. "What are you thinking about, Tyler?" "I'm thinking about how many other jackets are out there waiting to be given. How many other Michaels are waiting for someone who cares. How many other dreams are waiting to be born. And do you think they'll find their Tylers? I'm sure of it. Because kindness attracts kindness, and our story is here to prove that it's possible. So, will our jacket keep warming hearts even though it's here in the frame?" "Yes, Michael. It will keep warming hearts forever." The two stood there for a few minutes, looking at the jacket that had changed so many lives. Then they walked home together, knowing that the next day they would have new small gestures to make and new big dreams to help come true. End of story. Now tell me what you thought of our story. Do you believe in the power of small gestures? Have you experienced something similar, or know someone who transformed lives through kindness? Share your experience in the comments, and don't forget to leave your like if the story touched your heart. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss other heartwarming stories that prove love always wins.